Morning, everyone. So I'm trying the technology for the first time, I think. So the introduction's there. Going to the first slide. So the first one here is talking about Mondelez. For those of you who don't know about the company, so we're a major branded food manufacturer, employing 5,500 people in the UK, and our main and iconic brands include Cadbury, Kenco and Bassett's. So what will I be talking about today? So first of all, I'll be talking about the public perception of packaging. The second one, how this can be corrected, in inverted commas. I have a couple of examples of this, which you'll see as I run through. I'll talk about the importance of optimising packaging, not minimising packaging. The key difference there is that packaging should be optimised. That means it's fit for purpose, not the minimum level, which might damage the product that it's supposed to be protecting and transporting. And then give some examples of some optimisation work that Mondelez has carried out. So the first point is that there was a lot of research done by RAP, and this was looking at the public perception of food waste. And effectively, the public perception is that packaging waste is a much bigger issue than food waste. And so if we have a look at this at the main slide here, it's obviously quite small to see from the back there. But actually what the key points that you see is that, and I'm not sure, is there a pointer on this one? Is that, I've done something wrong there, I've done black there, shouldn't have done that. So the key point here is that, thank you very much. The key point here, 88%. So 88% of the public feel that packaging waste is a much bigger problem than food waste. And in actual fact, if you look at the carbon emissions, then here this is the impact of the food waste, and this is the impact of packaging waste. So obviously you'll see that there is a major difference between what the public perception is and the actuality of the issue. And the bottom part of the slide here gives some indication of just how much difference packaging can make to the shelf life of products. And what you've got at the bottom are areas here whereby the small tag there, the dark coloured one, is if you don't use packaging, and the white ones are here, how much longer it lasts if you do use packaging across those particular different items. So how can this be combated? So the first one was that there was a major group put together. So this had got people from across industry, and also, very importantly as well, involving the Kent Resource Partnership. Kent Resource Partnership is a group of local authorities in the southeast of England who basically manage waste from all of those authorities. And what they were trying to do was to actually address and put a campaign piece together which is called here, as you can see, Fresher for Longer. And the idea of that is actually trying to get the public perception changed and say what difference it can make in terms of how the public should be handling their products in the home. So this is actually all part of the, if you want to find the information, it's all part of the Love Food Hate Waste campaign. You can see it on their website. What I'm also going to do is to attempt to use some technology to give you a presentation that Inkpen have done, and can we link across to this one, please? So this is a short film that Inkpen have done to try and illustrate this. So just to say that there's that's actually, as you can see, known as the good, the bad, and the Spudley. So you can actually download that and see that on the internet. It's also linked through from the Inkpen website. So it just gives a good illustration of the issue and how that can be addressed. So specifically here, I'm going to now talk about this need to optimise and not minimise, and say, well, what should packaging actually be? So if we're talking from the environmental aspects, the first one is that packaging should perform efficiently on the production line. So clearly, if we're talking about energy use in a factory, if you've actually got items of packaging that don't perform well, then that is not going to be a good thing in terms of how your factory operates. The second one is, of course, is to be easily recyclable wherever possible. The third one, and this is massively important for us, is it must not adversely affect the product. So particularly here, we have examples whereby with chocolate, we cannot put recycled carton board in contact with our chocolate because of the risk of contamination of the product, and we need to really have the protection of our consumers as our first priority. And the last and probably most important point is about protecting the product. So it must do this in storage, in distribution, in store, and after purchase. So these are major contributions that packaging can make. So having said that, what we then do is say that, but what can we do, and some ways in which packaging can be optimised. So here I'll give you some examples within Mondelez, which are all very different examples about what we've done to optimise our packaging. The first one is that we rely on very good suppliers. So this one here is an illustration about DS Smith. So DS Smith being a major corrugate supplier. And effectively, I put an illustration of a box. But it isn't just a box, because here what we're illustrating is the advances in paper technology that DS Smith have brought about, which have given us big benefits. So to give one example, they've managed to reduce some of their papers from 127 to 115 grams per square metre without any loss in strength. And what this has done is that in our business over the last 3 years, you'll see that we've had a total saving of over 800 tonnes of material because of the innovation of one of our suppliers. The second one is that we can look to change materials. So here, this is coming into market. Last Christmas we had a revised Heroes tub. This Christmas we've got a revised Roses tub. What we've done is that we've changed the packaging from a tin to a plastic tub. The packaging weight savings are over 40%, and subject obviously to our final sales volumes, the saving in materials that we've used will be around 2,000 tonnes per year. The next point here is design optimisation, and here I've just shown one particular example of how we might optimise the design. So this is a very small example. All we've done is we've taken some material out of the flaps on the top of the carton here. There's no effect upon the carton integrity. It actually better reveals the product inside when it's opened, and this one example has saved 3.7 tonnes every year. That's just one small example. Here we have a very important point, which is about improving recyclability. So one thing that's become very clear is that in some of the external meetings I've attended is actually the importance of separating materials. So for example, on one product, our Christmas decorations, we actually had an item which was very difficult to open and recycle as the rear film stuck to the plastic thermoforming. By changing the specification film, we've actually come up with something that peels straight off. It has both marketing, therefore consumer benefits, and benefits for recyclability. And here we have the illustration of that. So you'll see at the top the before and after, and the difference that can make. And then you've moved from something that is not easy, cannot be recyclable because you've got a mixture of different plastics, to something whereby the film's easily taken off, and then especially the plastic thermoforming can then go along and be recycled with any other PET. Okay, now the next one here is one that our coffee business introduced, and this was in 2009, but it gives a very good example. So there are two stages here. The first one is actually moving to an eco refill pack, which was something that reduced the packaging by 97% wherever the eco refill was used. And the second part to that was actually recognising that significant sales still remains in jars because, of course, it's a consumer choice. And even then, we've reduced the weight of the glass in the jar by 7%. So that's a twin track there, and saying it's a partial replacement. And the last one here was a very interesting project we had to do with changing to some revised shelf-ready packaging. And on the left you have the traditional sort of glued case that we would receive from our suppliers. These glued cases will be sent to us in a handling case, and actually they take up a large amount of room on the pallets that come into us. And by actually changing to a flat blank, which is erected on a machine in our factory, then the number of pallet movements coming into our sites was reduced by 5,000 every year, just across our tablet range. So it does show that how with technology moves in, you get these sort of side effects whereby you get additional benefits that you wouldn't necessarily predict to start with. But thank you very much for your attention.